You on Iraq. U.S. officials say it appears, quote, likely U.S.-made Stinger missiles have fallen into the hands of Sunni insurgents. They also claimed a neighborhood about 40 miles outside of Baghdad. That's to the jihadis. Right now, joined by the president of the American Islamic Democracy, Zuhdi Jasser. Zuhdi, welcome back to the program. I want to ask you two questions. First about Syria, which, as I believe, is origins, if I'm not mistaken, and then about Iraq. Syria. Do you blame President Obama for what's happened in Syria in the last few years?
Well, absolutely. The lack of strategy. I mean, most Syrians that have any rational Americans, Congress, whoever would listen to a solution, and ultimately, if left alone, utilize the Syrian population and groups ISIS and Al-Qaeda with the MO. If you look, just General Keane noted in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, Stuart, ISIS have been given sanctuaries in Syria and the moderates have been decimated. And that's why it's become the font of radicalism into Iraq. So you're seeing the group of the Shia radical crescent across from Iran to Iraq and into Syria and into Lebanon. Again,
now the next question. Look at what's happened in Iraq. I mean, it's really divided into three at the moment, and it's a virtual Sunni and Shia going at it in Iraq. Blame President Obama for any of that?
Well, Americans should be just beyond livid to not only what we've spent, but the lives and the years of what we put into Iraq. We had a presence there just like we did in Germany and Korea to maintain adult supervision, but instead we've allowed Maliki to go to the Iranian sphere of thought. It allowed the division into sectarian battles, and now this is one little part of the puzzle. The airstrikes can help in the short-sighted commander-in-chief fixing the next week, but the long term, we've lost Iraq to the radicals, to the Shia Iran Khomeinists, and ultimately American interests are dying, if not died, in Iraq, and we're seeing the division of the Middle East into everything that's radicalizing and creating a security vacuum that is really, really sad for what we've given in the past 10 years to that region.
Zuhdi, as I look across the Middle East, I see whole countries in ruins. There's not much left of Syria, there's not much left of Iraq. There are other parts of the Middle East which are in a civil war situation. You yourself, you must be in despair. The last 4 years of countless cities and countries even in the Middle East.
This is, Stuart, the pathology of a commander-in-chief and a government that has no strategy. The Middle East will always be torn between two evils of secular fascism and Islamism. And unfortunately, the majority have not been given the ability to defend themselves. Opportunities of the Arab awakening from Egypt to Tunisia and into Syria has been lost to an Islamist winter that's being torn between Islamists on both the Shia side and the Sunni side. And we, unfortunately, have been completely absent. Crisis management, where all of the moderates, like my family in Syria and so many in Iran and Iraq, who hoped that the West would support them, are being abandoned to death, genocide, as we see in Syria.
Well, a lot of people say the same thing. You need a strong man. The Middle East responds to a symbol, one person, a strong guy who comes in and imposes dictatorial rule. What do you have to say about that?
Stuart, well, you know, again, that's very short-sighted. That is not Americans' principles. It's not a principle of liberty and freedom. And in some ways, it's veiled bigotry that somehow other people have different visions for their relationship with God and their government, that they can't go through what the West went through against theocracy. Muslims can do that. It's only 150 years old. They can go through a revolution against the theocrats, whether it be the Shia or the Sunni radicals of ISIS and the Brotherhood. They can defeat that, but they need America and the West to at least not find a third pathway for them. Otherwise, we're not treating them in beings, but rather as subjects.
Zuhdi Jasser, I believe you were born in Syria. Is that correct, sir?
Well, no, I was born in the U.S. My family came from Syria in the mid-'60s, escaped.
You served for many years in the United States Navy.
I did. 11 years on a Navy scholarship through medical school. Really coming to be able to practice my faith like nowhere in the Middle East, hoping we could continue to celebrate the freedoms. And our families are dying as a result of continuing that same struggle which my grand 40s and 50s.
Doctor, I can tell the sadness in your voice. I can tell. And it's been a long time since we see you, but you come and see us again real soon, okay? Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Stuart.
General Motors.